Welcome once again to the Mind of Opex. Today is actually a nice warm day. It's like 70-something degrees here in Indiana. And I'm heading up to Chicago area. Figure out what's going to happen when I get there. Pretty much. Anyways, let's dive into what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the perception of an alpha male. Now, we tend to think of an alpha male as the guy that has mega amount of confidence, probably a lot stronger and bigger, tend to be more masculine, lots of testosterone. And I'd have to agree with that to a certain extent. That is what an alpha male is. But we tend to also think that it's who the women go after, it's the players, these are the alphas, right? So I'm going to dive into it and just explain where is the real alphas and why. What qualities of an alpha male versus a beta. Now, alphas are generally, as we see, they have high levels of testosterone. But the bad perception, the misperception of an alpha is that they get all the women and they're kind of players, they're douchey, they're probably perhaps less intelligent, kind of like those meathead jocks we kind of look at as like the alpha male. But that can't be further from the truth. Now, an alpha in the past, let's say our origins of being humans, an alpha is somebody that defends himself, defends his family, strong, able to, obviously, as a woman, you're looking for a man that has some sort of security. You don't want a feeble man. You don't want some small, scrawny man that probably couldn't even beat up a teenager, you know? You know what I mean? So, when a real alpha comes around, that scrawny man isn't going to be able to defend his woman. It's a defense mechanism. It's built into our DNA as humans. It doesn't matter what race you are. It's built into us as humans to get a big man. Not like a fat man, not like an overly huge man, but a man big enough to defend her from getting raped or having resources stolen, stuff like that. So if we look into it with the idea of alphas are there to protect the women, it's a great example, and that's why women tend to go after bigger men, because there's a defense mechanism in them saying, I want my resources, I don't want to get robbed, I don't want to get raped, I don't want to get killed. It's something that's in our DNA. So when you see a big man, let's say a 6'4" guy, tall guy, getting women, it's because there's not too many other guys that are going to try to play that big guy. I mean, you would have to come up to him in groups, and generally women tend to go for guys that have, they're more charismatic. They have better ways of communicating. People like them. People are drawn to them. The reason why they like this is because any type of negativity or a negative aspect about them that other people don't like can create harm. It's built in your DNA to like the charismatic guy, the one that others look up to. Because, again, you're not going to get played, you're not going to get used and abused, and you're safe, you're secure. So, yes, an alpha would be the one to generally provide security. And charisma has a lot to do with it. If you're a very likable person, people are less apt to hate on you. If you're likable, people don't hate. It's kind of common sense. But the misconception is why. They're bigger men, so why do even short girls want the bigger man? It's because of that exact reason. Betas tend to not know exactly what they want. They tend to be less confident. They tend to basically look at it this way. If you have a strong woman, and I don't mean physically, like really, really powerful, I mean mentally. If you have a strong woman, a feeble man cannot handle a strong woman. Now, physically, yes, sure. A beta can still obviously overpower a woman. But they can't handle them in the mental. So think of it this way. If you don't have a dominating aspect to you over that woman, other than just physically, you can easily, hold them down or whatever. If you don't have any physical dominance and mental dominance, they don't like you. Because if you don't have that over the woman, how the fuck are you going to have that over other men? Now, if you look into the animal world, I think it's a little similar to what society was like as early humans. In terms of the alphas running shit, they're the ones who were having sex with the girls. And you see that nowadays. So it's not far-fetched to say that alphas still play an important role in our survival. And especially in the past, women would be a lot more vulnerable. They would have less rules, less things like that, less government, less laws to defend them. I mean, right now, women are dependent on the state, meaning alphas are starting to get put out of place. They used to look for the alpha. Now they look for the state, and basically look at it this way. The alphas originally, as men, what they would do is they would provide resources, they would provide security, they would win, per se. They would win over the woman, saying, well, I'm comfortable with you, I want your children, it's natural. As a feeble beta, you couldn't get that to that point. Now, betas, now more than ever, are being casted out. Because not only are women dependent on a man, they're dependent on government now. So they lose the betas, not to even to mention the alphas. So women tend to, nowadays, leave the paradigm of going after that alpha male, which should be your life goal. Get that alpha, the real alpha, get that alpha, and have some children. Now, the problem with alphas nowadays, they might still be big and scary and stuff. Actually, some of them aren't. That's why I don't call most of the alphas that you call alphas, because they are betas. There's a feminization going on towards the male gender. And even these big, strong, should have been alphas are a little feminine and wusses, to say the least. They don't provide resources for the women, for the woman that they so and so love. They're going off cheating, destroying the relationship bond between the woman and the man, and without providing resources and gains. Like, these men aren't even working. They're not doing shit. They're little pussies. These are betas. It doesn't matter how big you are anymore. But the big alpha heart isn't there that you perceive as an alpha male. It's not there. Therefore, boom, you're taking all these qualities that an alpha was supposed to have, and just because you have one or two of those qualities does not make you an alpha. You need the whole shebang to be an alpha. You can't just be an average guy and claim you're an alpha. Now, betas, right? These guys aren't getting laid. They weren't really getting laid back when, and they're not really. Give me a second. Hopefully this guy lets me in, and if he doesn't, he's a fucking asshole. You gonna let me in, guy? I can't go any faster. Alright, what was I talking about? Okay, so betas are being weeded out. There's supposed to be less betas nowadays than there was in the past. But the problem is we're having more betas nowadays because even the alpha genetics, the alpha males, are being weeded out. Now, alphas are turning into betas. They're relying on the government. They're not working as hard. They're not providing resources. And they're not able to have the qualities of an alpha to be considered an alpha, in my mind. If you're at the bar, and this guy, this guy's going in the bar and you know he can just fuck any girl he wants, that doesn't make him an alpha. That's a misconception. That's one quality of an alpha, but where are the rest? Where's providing resources? Where is working hard? And where is that alpha in all fullness? Where is it? There are more betas walking around than ever before. I don't know what the statistics were back in the, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 years ago. I don't know what those statistics are because I wasn't around and I don't believe history as much as most other people. But nowadays, me looking around, it is bad. You hardly ever see an alpha anymore. There's a lot more homosexuality. There's a lot more feminization of men wearing skinny jeans, getting all fucking bald and shaving their head and being corporate slaves. So they're putting all their energy either into nonsense, like people who don't have a job, people who don't do anything, or they are corporate slaves and they're not able to be alphas because you cannot be an alpha in the workplace if you're entry level. You can't be an alpha. You cannot. And if you do, you're going to be stuck at that entry level. You can never progress. But at the top, there are alphas. They don't work very hard. They collect the money. They keep their women very satisfied with resources, with security at the top. But in the workplace, from anything above entry level, basically, in the workplace, there are betas. There are slaves. And as a slave, you cannot be an alpha. An alpha does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, and 100% in the way of providing for their family. We've all had sex with hot girls, right? Sexy hot girls. It does not make you an alpha. We've all had sex with a hot girl. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of lower end betas who haven't, or you don't know how to take care of yourself. Either way, it's a beta quality. Alpha quality is taking care of yourself and your family. Plain and simple. Bare bones thought process. They take care of their family. They take care of themselves. If you cannot do either of those, if you are gaining a lot of weight, you're not taking care of yourself, that is not the quality of an alpha. An alpha needs to be tough at all times, mentally, physically, the whole nine. But you need all of the qualities. You cannot just say this guy's an alpha just by looking at him. It doesn't work like that. There are some tough guys out there, like, let's say, Vin Diesel or The Rock. The Rock's even a better example. You look at The Rock, he's quite feminine, right? Very feminine qualities. He doesn't have high levels of testosterone, but when you look at him, you don't want to fuck with him, right? Just because you have one quality of an alpha does not make you an alpha. Now, sure, he might provide resources and be probably too insensitive. Or no, sensitive, not insensitive. Probably too sensitive, which is not a good quality. Alphas run shit, okay? If you're not running shit, there's no way you're an alpha. There's no way. If you're extremely sensitive, you are not an alpha. Plain and simple. Now, yes, having a degree of empathy is great, but you shouldn't be fucking how you doing today? How was your day? That's not a fucking alpha. Plain and simple. Another misinterpretation of alphas are being overly douchebagness. Too much douchebagness is not an alpha. Too much douchebagness is just that. It's just being a douchebag. It's neither here or there in the alpha world. You can be a douchebag and have the greatest heart. You can. I've seen it. I had it for a while. Shit, people still call me a douchebag. I have a great big heart, and I'm willing to, fight for what I believe in. Freedoms, and the whole nine. Douchebagness has nothing to do with being an alpha. Nothing. You can be a douchebag and an alpha, and you can not be a douchebag and be an alpha. Because there are douchebag betas, just to let you know. That has nothing to do with anything. That's just your character. And your character generally has nothing to do with being an alpha. Generally. But if you're real to yourself, you are more of an alpha. Being real. If you're acting, if you're putting on a show for people, that is not the characteristics of an alpha. It might be funny, it might be awesome, but generally it has nothing to do with being an alpha. So I wanted to get that misinterpretation of alphas out of the way and understand that in the past, thousands of years ago, alphas had this great thing where they had testosterone at high levels. They acted on their testosterone, which is positive. It's good. Unless you're deciding to rape and shit like that. It's good. And when you have this high amount of testosterone, you're running shit. You're providing resources and security to your family and yourself. That is like purity of an alpha. Today, you don't see that as much. You're seeing, like, for example, just look at the inner cities. Doesn't matter what race you are. I don't see many alphas in the inner cities. I see them more in the country, but not in the inner cities. Not even in the suburbs. Not many in the suburbs either. There are some in the suburbs, in the cities, the urban communities, suburban, but they're majorly out in the country. They know what they want. They know what... I mean, this is not a 100% thing, but out in the country, there's a lot of alphas. They don't put up with shit that hurts them. They defend their... I mean, for example, me, at sometimes, I've had a girlfriend where, someone might say something to her, and I can tell, like, they're flirting, but I let it go. I kind of regret doing that because that's a beta aspect. But there comes a point where, like, you don't have to be protective. You just have to make your presence known. That's pretty much it. Boom, you're an alpha right there. Just make your presence known. Like you don't have to be like, you don't even have to say don't talk to her like that. You don't have to say you want to put up fists. You don't have to do nothing like that. You don't even have to go to that level. Just make your presence known. That's an alpha. You make everyone, all parties in that scenario, know that you're an alpha just by making your presence known. It makes the woman feel more secure, and it's a very, very good quality, and you should have that quality. Like, if you look out into out in the fields, let's say, and there's I don't know, if there's animals out there, and one alpha wants to challenge the other alpha, well, there's going to be a fight. Or it might just be a presence battle, like, hey, I'm here. Oh, you are? Well, I'm here too. It's always that presence. That's what matters the most. But if they're both like, if the presence is there and the other alpha's like, you know what, I can jump over that, then you do what you got to do. You need to provide. And if you don't believe in fighting, I'm the same way. 100% peaceful. I want to avoid fighting at all costs. But best believe, push comes to shove, I'm fighting. But I am very peaceful. I'll try to use low vibration in order to achieve peace. But if that vibration at the other end is so high, there has to be a battle. You can't just bring them lower. You can't say, hey, come down to this level. You can't do that. You need to stop being sensitive. That is not the quality of an alpha. You need to fight for your woman, your family. Even if a kid punks your kid, you can't just be like, oh, you got to avoid them. No, as a parent, as a man especially, go over to the other family and be like, yo, got to get that kid to stop punking my kid. That's an alpha. You don't allow your kids to get bullied, and then you teach your kid. I mean, this is an alpha. This is real man shit. I'm not teaching you how to be a man. I'm just telling you the difference between an alpha and a beta. I'm not trying to teach you or show you or explain to you why you should be a man, because that might be a video for another time. But there is a distinct difference between alphas in the past and our perception of alphas now. Our perception of alphas now is just what? Think about it. What's your perception now? I know mine's changed relatively quick since my journey to enlightenment about 7 years ago. You have to be intellectually prepared. Now, we always look at like the dumb jock, right? Like the jock is just like, he's got a square head. He's a meatball. He fucking plays football. And some people tend to think that fucker is an alpha, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You need a degree of intelligence. You need to have a degree of intelligence, because if you don't have it, then you can never have a powerful woman, a strong woman. You can't. You can't do it. It's impossible. Therefore, boom, into the beta field. Me personally, because of understanding of your superpowers, I have gotten to the alpha aspect in a lot of ways. I may not be the biggest guy or the most in shape guy, but the other qualities I pretty much have. And when push comes to shove, I'll act like the big guy. But generally speaking, I'm very happy and I'm very peaceful. But when that push comes to shove, you need to shove back. But try to avoid it. But if that vibration of the other party is too big, you have to do what you have to do. If your presence isn't big enough for it, you got to do what you got to do. Now, a woman shouldn't call you a douchebag over it, and if she does, she is not intelligent herself, and that's fine. Sometimes we're attracted to unintelligent, like dumb blondes, right? For some reason we like that because they're easier to get in the sack. But if they have a degree of intelligence, they would definitely approve of you standing your ground. And they'll definitely, get good vibes from you. You reach a certain level of security feeling for her, and it's very positive stuff. You can't just be like, dude, don't talk to my girl like that, or don't do that. Just step up to the plate and be like, what's up? I'm Steve. I'm John. Just go up and be like, I'm this person. What's up? Just stand your ground. But everyone knows what you're doing, but you're doing it in a nice way. And if they want to raise their vibration, be like, dude, why are you coming at me like this? Be like, dude, I'm not doing anything. I'm just introducing myself. How are you doing? That's all you have to do. Boom, alpha male. That's a quality of an alpha. If you're a violent person, that is generally not an alpha thing. Because violence, if you've ever seen any of my videos in the past, you know that I believe violence is due to lack of intelligence. Lack of intelligence means lack of providing for your family. You need a degree of intelligence to provide for your family and to have your family and your children brought up the best ways possible. If you're not very intelligent, then, you can have the heart and everything's there, but you generally don't have a big heart if you're just on the violence aspect. When you are left with nothing left in your mind to provide an argument or to fix a problem or to create remedies to the problem, and you're stuck with only thing left, I gotta fight, that's lack of intelligence. That again is not the pure quality of an alpha. Now again, the reason why there's so little amount of alphas is because there's a big feminization movement for the men. The black community sees it the hardest. The black community really has a big problem with, homosexuality, loss of testosterone, loss of intelligence as well. I'm not, just because I'm throwing, these are facts. Just because I'm throwing these facts at you doesn't mean that I have anything against black people. If you start thinking that, then I'm sorry, you're not intelligent enough to watch my channel. But the plaguing of men not being able to be men anymore, they're succumbed to the government, they are succumbed to the entertainment industry, which is totally trying to teach men to be betas. Women want a man to take care of them. Duh! Right? And when you have the government taking care of the woman, and there's no father around to teach the children, raise the children, provide resources for the woman, and the government's providing little or no resources to the woman, then you have competition, and you can't, if you're not part of your children's life, unless you're fucking dead, if you're not providing resources to the family, if you're not being a part of the kids' lives and the mother's lives, you are not an alpha. Boom, plain and simple. You are not. And this isn't just my opinion on shit. Specifically, it is my opinion on shit. But there's a clear characteristic there of an alpha. Alphas stick around. Alphas put in the work. Alphas have a heart of gold. Alphas are willing to fight for what they love. Alphas are willing to, work hard day in, day out, hard, hours and hours and hours a day. And then when they get home, that's all that they want is something to eat. You know what I mean? That's all they want from their loved one, because that's how much they love their wife or family, and that's what an alpha is. So to sum up a little bit, basically look at it like this. The world around you is trying to create a beta version of you through slavery, corporate slavery, shaving your head, that whole nine, going to work to provide little resources, and constantly not being able to be around your woman. Your woman has to be in the workplace, therefore they're not looking for an alpha. The entertainment industry, with a big push of anti-masculinity. You see it in the media. Their push against Trump because women like Trump and Trump likes women. There's a huge push against the alpha male who would provide great resources. Donald Trump has a beautiful family. He's done very well in his business. He's provided resources. He's an alpha man. He's an alpha male who the media hates, and they want you to hate the alpha male so they can make all the men betas, which basically destroys the country, basically destroys the foundation of great fathers and a great country. They're trying to destroy that. And you see it in the black community, like the hip-hop community, you see it in Hollywood. They have a lot of feminine men that they're trying to make popular, like little boyish-looking men, instead of real men. Like even Vin Diesel, he looks like a little fucking child, you know what I mean? He doesn't look like a man, you know what I mean? You gotta be a man. You gotta play your part as an alpha. You can be an alpha. You don't have to be 7 foot tall and bench press more than Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. You don't have to do that to be an alpha. I gave you the characteristics of being an alpha and being a beta, and that the world around you wants you to be a beta and wants to make it cool to be a fucking slave. Be an alpha, my friend. If your work doesn't want you to grow out a beard, fuck them. There's another job out there. Be an entrepreneur. Do something else. Make that money. Provide for your family. Be there for your children. That's an alpha. Ultimately, peace, love, happiness, and longevity. It's Opex as always. I'm out.